I eat losers for breakfast.
Cars. It's one of the stranger movies in Pixar's early lineup. Honestly, I hated this movie as a kid for many reasons, not because it was bad, but simply because I was sick of it. It was the only Pixar movie we owned, so I watched it over and over again. But despite my overexposure to it, there was always something strange about this film. Weirdly, it felt very scary to me for whatever reason. Maybe it was the lack of humans or the borderline terrifying sequences, but nothing ever felt right in this world. A fact that would be proven pretty quickly once I looked into the early versions of this movie. During the production of Pixar's A Bug's Life, artist Jorgen Klubin had an idea for an interesting original story that heavily related to his love of electric cars and how their creation was seen as strange by a world heavily reliant on gas-powered vehicles. Envisioned as an American fairy tale that borrowed heavily from The Ugly Duckling, the yellow car, as it came to be known, followed, well, a yellow car who travels to the city of Raymond in order to participate in a new major race being held there. However, disgusted by his very existence, the cars of the city conspire to send him away. The yellow car must now make its way back to Raymond before the start of the racing competition. Okay, so there are a lot of things worth pointing out for this version of the Cars movie. First of all, the yellow car is not a race car. He's instead a small electric vehicle, something that discusses the many vehicles of this world. You see, in the world of the yellow car, gas-powered vehicles are the norm. People take great pride in being a gas-powered vehicle, so seeing an electric car disturbs and infuriates them. It's a very strange and irrational hatred. They see his existence itself as wrong, something that needs to be corrected.
And we'll have equal rights for all, except blacks, Asians, Hispanics, Jews, gays, women, Muslims, everybody who's not a white man.
That's why in the storyboards, the cars forcefully intoxicate the yellow car, take his unconscious body, and place him on a train to be taken far away. The villain of this story is a gas-powered car named Hot Rod, who has dominated every race for years. Humans are seemingly a large part of this world, appearing in several pieces of artwork. You know, I always wondered how in the Cars movies, the vehicles somehow managed to build the infrastructure we see. Well, based on the art, it was clearly done by the humans. Now, why do humans live alongside cars to begin with? That's never really explained, and the cars don't actually pay much attention to them anyway, which I think is a good thing because I do not want to know what kind of relationship the humans would have with the cars to begin with.
Love you, baby.
What we do know is that humans are responsible for maintaining and repairing the cars, as well as building them, explaining how cars might give birth in this universe. But this raises another question. Why are humans making talking, sentient cars to begin with? I mean, seriously, what's the point? The artwork shows that cars are clearly made for commercial purposes, so humans can drive them. But if that is the case, isn't creating a sentient being purely to be used as a tool morally and ethically wrong? The cars also clearly live lives of their own, separate from human intervention. Does that mean that a hierarchy exists in this world between free-thinking, independent cars and those that exist solely for labor? I don't know, but it is something you should think about. This world is surprisingly dark. There is the already mentioned irrational prejudice surrounding the existence of a different car, but there's also another strange detail worth pointing out. When the yellow car first wakes up on the train, he sees something very disturbing, a pile of crushed old cars. According to the caption beneath the image, they're being taken away to be turned into soda cans. Okay then, so at least in this universe, if you're an old car, you're essentially turned into food. That implies that the yellow car exists in some kind of dystopian world, where if you're not useful, they just eat you. Okay then. Anyways, the yellow car shares many similarities with the Cars movie, having the same rough narrative structure. Although the film was shelved for a while, its ideas were simply too interesting to abandon, allowing them to be revisited years later. The yellow car was a simple and grounded story, one that to some extent was a bit too simple for a theatrical film. As a result, the creative team modified the concept to be grander while retaining many of its roots and structural elements. The American car was the second pitch for the movie, and this is the version that officially entered development. It appears throughout storyboards, various pieces of conceptual art, and early animation tests that can be seen in the original Cars teaser trailer. The American car shifts the focus of the story towards racing. Instead of a yellow electric car, the protagonist becomes Lightning McQueen, a famous rookie race car on the verge of becoming the first rookie to win the Piston Cup. Structurally, the American car is almost identical to the final film, with a few differences. There's more emphasis on Radiator Springs' history and the character dynamics, as well as unused sequences, such as one where McQueen has to attend driving school as a requirement to race in the Radiator Springs competition. One thing worth mentioning is the strange and dark tone present in this version of the story. When Lightning McQueen falls out of Mac's truck, he drifts down the road for a while before waking up and realizing what happened. He then desperately tries to find Mac, leading into the events of the movie. This moment plays out similarly in the storyboards, with one major difference. As McQueen attempts to make his way back to the highway, his lack of headlights causes him to steer off the road. When he analyzes his surroundings, he realizes he's ended up in what appears to be a massive car graveyard. He panics and then desperately tries to escape. When you properly analyze this moment, a lot of unsettling questions arise. What exactly is this place? Based on the state of the cars, it appears to be a graveyard filled with decayed and destroyed vehicles. Some even have trees and vegetation growing through them, implying that they've been here for decades. If this is a graveyard, why is it so exposed? Applying real-world logic, this would mean dead cars are left out in plain sight for everyone to see. The cars of this universe seemingly don't care about a literal open grave on the side of the road. I also question how these cars even died. It can't be from a crash. There's nothing around to crash into. That implies that death was done through starvation, dehydration, disease, or even foul play. There's another very dark scene that gives us insight into the car's biology. In the final film, McQueen has a dream at Sally's hotel where he loses a race. In the storyboards, however, all of McQueen's tires explode, completely crippling him. His engine then violently bursts from his body, tugging on its cord. McQueen desperately tries to stop it, but fails. The cord is pulled, and he presumably dies. If we're meant to believe the cars represent humans in some way, then an engine being ripped out is less like a heart being removed and more like a brain. This interpretation is reinforced by another deleted scene where McQueen dreams about performing community service in Radiator Springs. The sheriff forcefully swaps his engine with that of a steamroller.
What have you done to me? You put my engine in a steamroller?
In the dream as well, Mater's engine is placed into McQueen's body, allowing him to steal McQueen's fame and identity, while McQueen is left doing labor for the rest of his life. This does raise a few unsettling implications. Do cars swap bodies to preserve their lives? Could someone forcefully steal another car's body like we see happen to McQueen? What happened to the steamroller's original engine? Where is the consciousness of whoever was in here originally? However, since all this takes place in a dream, it's entirely possible that this kind of body swapping isn't actually possible within the rules of this world. For some reason, the storyboards have a strange obsession with body horror, particularly when it comes to Lightning McQueen, but thankfully, most of the other deleted content isn't nearly as dark. The rest of the story's development is pretty straightforward. Over time, the narrative shifted and evolved until we finally arrived at the version of the movie that released in theaters.
Dadgum! Boy, I tell you what, son, I drive my tires over a mile of busted glass just to see that picture right there.